childhood, even if it was pretty granola. I've been 5'2" since I was 11 because I was never allowed to ingest human growth hormone. But despite my lack of access to Cartoon Network, I turned out fine, I think. And, you know, when I look back on what made my childhood so great, I think it was my parents. Michael and Susan Thaxton. Some of you know them. And they actually are gay. They don't know it. But I do. That's what matters here. And I get why they haven't figured it out yet. It's a process. It took me a few years to figure it out too, but they're up to 6 decades by now. So we'll see where it goes. But you know, they met in the Navy, which is gay for different reasons. My mom was the first woman to serve on the USS Bellawood in the 90s. Susan Fallon before she married my gay father. And she was followed the year after by 2 lesbians, and the year after that, 3 lesbians. And they all lived together in what we would call now a polycule. They didn't have that terminology back then, but you know, I know what it was. So. And then, you know, of course, my dad, he liked to watch guys work out. I get it. I'm there too. I'm right there with you. We watched Top Gun every Memorial Day. Military aspect, but for the topless volleyball scene with Val Kilmer. My mom was really excited for that one. Aspect, I would say. She likes to throw out gay lingo at me every few weeks, try to keep me on my feet, make sure I am who I say I am. Thank you. And you know, over the break, we were sitting around the kitchen table, just normal family conversation. She looks over at me and she goes, "Did you ever U-Haul with a girl?" I said, "I don't know, would you?" And I did not get an answer to that question. But I think the worst example of, I guess, her buzzwords was last summer. We were on a flight from Maryland to Vermont, of all places. And, you know, my sister and I were seated 2 rows ahead of my gay mother, gay father. And we didn't talk the whole flight. The first thing she says to me when we go off the plane is, "Kat, what is scissoring?" And she's standing there, like Birkenstocks, Bermuda shorts, and a big teacup. It was a trick question. You know, my dad, he's not really into the keywords, you could say. But he does like his art and his fashion, which is fine. You know, he's stated to me numerous times that he's a socialist, which is definitely an indicator if I've heard one. And, you know, a few years ago, he went on a trip to Costa Rica with his best friend, Tony. Yeah, you see where this is going. Who he met in the Navy. That's code for a gay bar. So they were gone for 2 weeks. We did not hear from them the entire time. Except for a single photo dump a week in. It's every picture of him and Tony. And the last one has the Philadelphia Love sculpture. That raised some red flags, some rainbow ones as well. And so, you know, we picked him up from the airport. Like, you know, how was it? Like, we didn't hear from you, so what was going on? Oh, it was so beautiful. He went swimming every day. We kept getting mistaken for a couple. It was so funny. But truly, I do love my parents. They're great. They did give the gay gene to me. No avoiding that. I did have a nose piercing that completely broke up until 2 days ago. I took it out because it was too edgy for me.
Not the dominant trait.
But it didn't get my sister.
But you don't
somehow.
know Punnett Square.
There was some sort of like mutation there, though. She's very into K-pop now. But that's all I have for you.